Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I look crazy with these rollers in my hair, but I want to try out a bunch of new products. Lots of new goodies to go over and they just keep coming. So of course I will link everything down below in my description box. If you like trying new makeup videos, give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into trying a bunch of new makeup. So I've got you guys zoomed in. These rollers are frying me, but I really want some volume and lift at my root, and I struggle when I slick it down to do my makeup. So let's just ignore it. I know I look goofy, but I want to start out with this Summer Fridays Flushed Lip Stain Lip Liner. So I picked up one shade, which is called Slipper. This is the new craze. Every brand is coming out with these. So it is a pointed tip. It kind of reminds me of the CoverGirl component, and this is the lightest pink shade. So I'm going to just line my lips with this. I used my normal stain in the center, but I want to just demo this color. This is a kind of middle of the road formula. I would say not quite as liquidy as the Huda Beauty, but it could just be this color. I find that the lighter pink colors typically are more dry. This one seems like a little bit more punchy than the baby pink from Huda. And I feel like you do have nice control of the tip. It's not like a flexible tip, so it gives you precision. So this is what that color looks like, but I do find that it's quite even. So it's not like the NYX where it looks kind of patchy and you have to rub it in. This one just translates pretty evenly, and I would say like more natural on the lips. So I am enjoying it. I'm gonna continue to wear it, see how it lasts. And then on my hand, I mean, I feel like all of these are going to, stay put, but it is naturally the lightest shade. So I don't know in terms of like longevity, how much you're gonna get out of this really, really light tint. You may have to go up a shade. But I did also wanna try one of these. I don't know why. I don't know why I wanna punish myself, but Too Faced sent over these lip injection lip glosses. Now I'm so confused. I feel like we have so many products that are just reformulated, or they're saying like new, but it's like, is it new shades? Is it a new formula? I couldn't tell when I was on Sephora. I think possibly just new shades. So I have Everything's Peachy, and then I also have Sweet Spot. I'm not the biggest fan of plumping glosses. I think just because I really don't need them. I've had, enough lip filler for a lifetime. I haven't had lip filler probably like 3 years. It could be even longer than that. And my lips are still hanging on. So the peachy one has some glitter in there, and then the pink one is just kind of like a smooth pink. So let's go in with the peachy one. I'm hoping this isn't gonna be really uncomfortable. I wanna be careful and not take this like outside of my lip lines. This is a pretty sticky formula. I don't feel the glitter in here, which is good, and it has like a cute little glitter sparkle, but very, very sticky formula. I don't really like how I have to like keep dipping in to get product. I feel like the wand is kind of like rigid, so you're not getting a bunch of gloss on it. I like how shiny it is, and it has almost like it's like a fruity, but like, I don't know if I want to say like menthol, but when I breathe in, it kind of gives me that cooling effect, if you know what I'm saying, like almost like I have a breath mint in or something. So I don't mind that. So far, I'm not feeling anything, but I'm sure shortly I will be suffering. And of course, I do have one fragrance that I picked up. So this is the newest 7 Virtues Strawberry Jam Eau de Parfum with vanilla marshmallow. So the notes on this are nutty pistachio, strawberry, and vanilla marshmallow. I was all in. I was expecting something similar to the Kayali Yum Bougie. I can't remember the name. You know which one I'm talking about. This one is divine. I would say that this is similar to that, but much more strawberry based. And I don't know if it's that pistachio. It has a really nice creaminess to it, a little bit of that like nutty pistachio, but it is a gourmand through and through. If you like a kind of juicy, sweet gourmand, I think you would really like this, but this is definitely a fluffy, nutty, sweet gourmand, and I really, really love this. So I just quickly changed one of my contacts because my eye is irritated. I looked back in the mirror and it was like a jump scare. My lips are beet red. I mean, they look huge. Like, it is intense. This works. I don't really think that the pain is what I expected. I mean, honestly, like maybe a 4 out of 10. Just a little bit of tingle. My lips almost feel numb though. I can't take myself seriously, you guys. I'm so sorry. I have to remove this, but if you really want your lips to be plump, I'd say the Too Faced is a good option. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit of my Patrick Ta just to give some moisture. My lips feel a little raw and they're still obviously gonna be like swollen. So let's see how long that lasts if they sort of settle. But I have these new products from Morphe. So they sent over a bunch of new stuff in a new collection. So I wanted to play around with some of these. So we have a lot of kind of like shimmery, glittery products, and I'm trying to figure out how to use them. So the first thing is these Mixed Signals dual-ended cream and liquid shadow sticks. So there's 3 different colors. So in each one you get a liquid shadow, and this is a shimmer liquid shadow. And then on the other side, you get a crayon, which is also like metallic. So you have 2 different options. So this is the first shade, which is called Stealthy. And then here are the other 2 shades. Interestingly, these 2 have more of like a glitter formula in the topper or like the liquid side, whereas the first one has 2 like true metallics. So I would be more drawn to these 2 just because you get more of like that glittery topper, different sort of finishes. And then we also have these trios. So these kind of confuse me a little bit too. These are the eyeshadow trios, but it's interesting that in each of these you have a matte shadow, but I think the tone is interesting. Like, it's such a light shade that I don't really know what you're supposed to do with that. And then you have this like marble baked shade, and then some of these have like a metallic, others seem to have like glitters. So let me go ahead and swatch these for you. So I went ahead and swatched the trios, and it looks like they all swatch relatively similarly. You have that matte, which again, I'm not really sure why the mattes are so light, because they're not gonna be anything that you can put in your crease, or I mean, you'd have to be super fair to even maybe use this one. And then the bottom one, which is called Platinum Bombshell, this one's kind of giving me Patrick Ta vibes, but it almost looks like very similar to his duo that went crazy viral. And then the other 2 have like really pretty romantic colors and then just kind of like neutral shades. So I think I'm gonna go in with the romantic color story. This is Pinky Ring, and I'm actually gonna start with this shade right here, which is the just standard kind of metallic. I'm gonna apply this on my lid. This is why I didn't want to set my lid. It feels like a creamy, kind of standard metallic. And then I'm gonna go into my medium palette from Patrick Ta. I'm just gonna use this color, maybe a little bit of the lightest shade mixed together, and I wanna use this to kind of blend around. That's what I'm kind of confused about, because in all 3 of these, the matte shade is very light, almost like a brow bone, which I'm assuming, you know, you can use for your brow bone, but maybe they, you know, anticipate this being like a one and done, even though it's a trio where you just pop like a metallic on your lid, hit your brow bone, and then do a sparkle in the center. But for me, I feel like I need a matte. Next, I am gonna go into the matte shade with a flat shader brush. Okay, that's really, really light. Interesting. And then for even more sparkle, I'm gonna go into the middle shade right here. This has that like baked formula, so it's very, very smooth and lightweight. I'm just gonna apply that to the center and then sort of just sweep out. I mean, that is really, really pretty on the lids. I would assume it would be even more intense if you used like a glitter glue. So it's not quite like Patrick Ta, you know, duos where it's super glittery and there's a ton of fallout. It's a little bit more subdued, but it's definitely more shimmery or sparkly than like a standard metallic. And then I think I am gonna go back into that Patrick Ta palette just because I wanna put a little bit more depth on the outer portion of my eye just to balance it. So I am gonna go into this shade right here, and I wanna use a smaller brush and just add a little bit. For eyeliner, I wanted to demo these Urban Decay 24/7 liquid stick retractable liners. So I got these in PR. I've only swatched them, but they are a interesting idea. I'm seeing more brands do this where they have this really slim slanted pencil, and on the other side there's a little brush to smudge out. So I have the shade here, Brown Noise. I'm just going to swatch that. So it has a really nice slip to it. I wanna see what the smudging is like. So this shade seems to smudge decently. I wouldn't say it's like the most seamless because you can still see where you put it. So it almost feels like where you put this, it's going to lock down and then you can smudge around it, but you don't have a ton of movement with like moving the actual line. So you have to be careful with that. The one shade I really love, but it just swatches horribly is, I think it's Wine Spell. Is it Wine Spell? Wine Spill. So let's swatch this. So initially it looks like a really pretty kind of like burgundy, but when you blend this one out, it just looks pretty patchy, which is interesting. So I feel like it's not consistent. So I'm gonna go in with the brown shade today and let's just see what we can come up with. So I'm gonna try to zoom you in here. I have to be mindful of the fact that you have to move quickly, and where you put this, it seems like it's going to stay there. So I'm just gonna start with a little wing like that and start to soften. So it does soften a little bit, but again, you're not gonna get like crazy amounts of smudging room, which could be good or bad. I wanna see how this lasts because I have a feeling it's going to hang on, especially after you smudge that top layer. It does kind of go a little bit shiny in the original swatch. I'm not sure if you can tell. It's got like this shine to it. So I'm just going to kind of build a wing and then soften. So now that I have smudged those out, I'm going to use the new YSL mascara. So this is the Lash Latex Sculpting and Lengthening Mascara. This is supposed to be a lengthening and sculpting mascara with 24-hour sweat-resistant wear for up to 1.6 times longer lashes and all-day curled lift in volume. So I don't have an issue with wear. I think it's because I have dry lids and I also powder heavily, but I do want a mascara to give me volume, length, and lift. And my biggest issue is that they just fall. So it looks like it has one of those really small, kind of spiky wands. I'd heard some really good things about this, although I have been really enjoying the Urban Decay one I just tried and the Kosas one. Okay, initial first impression, just on one coat, not much is coming off, and there we go, got it on my skin. Feels like you're gonna have to like really build this. So this is what the YSL mascara looks like. It's not as intense, I would say, as the Urban Decay, just off my first impression. I don't really feel like I'm getting much length. I don't know, I feel like my lashes could look longer. The one thing I will say is I don't feel like it's a heavy formula so far, so my lashes don't feel like they're drooping immediately, but I want to just let this dry and then recurl them. That's what I do with all of my mascaras, and we will see how they look then. But my first impression is just kind of so-so for an expensive mascara. I really hope that I love it. So now I want to move on to complexion. I have this new MPH foundation to try out, but I'm just going to use my BabsBeauty Dream Barrier Cream as my base, just because I know it works well for me. I know it will layer under makeup well. I want to try out this new MPH Serum Foundation. So I purchased this. This is available now. I want to say it was pretty pricey, $49. You do get 1 ounce, which is standard. It has quite a few shades. Looks like the shade range is relatively good. And then it does say it's a natural finish, medium coverage, long wearing. It's supposed to be weightless, breathable, and it has a serum formulation. It does have 2% niacinamide, which I don't typically love when my foundations have like skincare in them, but that's kind of all the rage. The packaging is very, very nice. I have tried from this brand the underpainting palette, and it was a little bit too emollient for me. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about this. I got light 70W. I just guessed what would work the best for me. It has a very, very thin texture. It almost feels, I don't wanna say greasy, but it feels very, very hydrating. So I'm gonna blend this in with my Sephora Collection Pro 40 brush. So again, it said it had like a medium buildable coverage. I smell a slight scent, but I'm not sure. It almost smells like something bakery-like. I don't see fragrance. I could have missed it, but it does have olive oil something in there. That's maybe what I'm smelling. It's like a nutty, I don't know, like a baking fragrance. Okay, so I used 1 pump so far to get this coverage. It's very, very, very thin. I am gonna have to pull this down my neck just because I am so fair right now. But we are going into like spring and then summer. So hopefully I will have a little bit more color. So this is what 1 layer looks like. I do think that the coverage is definitely like a light medium. There looks to be some sort of like radiance to it, but I can't tell if that's just like hydrating ingredients or actual illumination. I don't know. The more I look at it, it almost appears like there is some sort of illumination, but it's very, very fine. But I want to see if this does build, because it does say do light layers to get fuller coverage. I do feel like that did build nicely, and I'm not noticing a ton of like smearing, which is also nice. So here is the foundation built up. I do think that you can get a high medium coverage, maybe even a little bit more, but I will say that, I mean, it is tacky. Like if you don't set this, everything's gonna be sticking to it. I wanna go in with my Say bronzer just because I don't have a new liquid bronzer. I'm gonna use my Makeup by Mario F4 brush. I wanna see how other products play with this. I feel extremely dewy right now. For blush, there is a new one from Morphe. So this is also in that collection. This is the Cheek Thrills in Yacht Day. I love this formula, but this one has some really kind of warm, like summer colors in here. So you have a cream blush, then you have like a cream highlight, and then you have a powder topper. This is gonna look really pretty on like deeper complexions. So I'm gonna go in with the blush. We'll just see if I can make it work. I'm just dipping in with my brush. Then I'm gonna tap some off on the back of my hand and start building up. This formula is beautiful. Okay, so I am noticing, I don't know if you see this, but it almost is like moving the foundation a little bit right in here, and you can like see the outline. So just be mindful of that. I think it's just because this foundation is so incredibly thin. So this shade is giving you like that really pretty vacation flush. Now I do have a new concealer. I am a little nervous about this. I did pick this up. I'm nervous because I've never enjoyed a concealer like in a stick for my under eyes. The only one I can think of is the Bobbi Brown Corrector. I like that one, but usually these are too cakey, too heavy. So this is the new Milk Makeup Grip Gel Concealer. Now this comes in, I wanna say like 20 shades. It is non-comedogenic photogenic, medium coverage, long wearing. It says that it's got buildable coverage that covers redness, dark circles, and more with a natural dewy finish. That's what makes me nervous, the dewy part. I don't typically want my concealers to be dewy. I want them to be hydrating. So this is what the packaging looks like. It's okay, it feels a little bit cheap. I got the color 3 because I figured if I'm gonna use this day to day, I'll be more like fair. This is what it swatches like. Definitely looks pretty dewy, but when you blend it out, I'm trying to see, it does have a pretty thick texture to it. I think to avoid cakiness and just using too much, I'm gonna actually work off the component. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on a concealer brush, work in like little layers here. So it says medium buildable coverage. These geese are trying me right now. We have a pond and we don't want geese to hang around because, you know, they can be territorial, they can, you know, have nests, poop all over, and they'll sometimes try to land on our pond. And usually I just let the dogs out and they take off, but these ones are trying me today. And half the pond is like still frozen a little bit, so I don't really know. I keep hearing them flying over, like staking out the joint. And I'm like, no, ma'am. I feel like they're in the backyard. Hold, please. Oh yeah, there's definitely a goose on the pond. She's calling out to her friends, so I might have to go down there and send Millie out. Millie's not the best guard dog, so I don't really know what good that will do. Usually Roscoe would run out and they would just like take off, but we'll see what happens. Okay, this is what the concealer is looking like. I am not loving this. I don't know if the coverage can really be built up to where I want it to be. I'm gonna use my fingertip. It's so incredibly like sticky. I cannot get this to blend out without having like patching right here. I already know I'm not going to like this. It's just not something that I would use on my under eye, so I may try it again with like nothing else on. I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury. I have been loving this concealer. It is so high coverage, which is fabulous if you really just want to cover any like darkness. You don't want to have to use color correctors or layer a bunch. So I have the shade 4.5, but it just smooths the under eyes out. It's just very, very, very high coverage without looking heavy. So this is what the Charlotte Tilbury looks like. Just one layer, and if I do need to build it, I can, but I just love how much this covers without being like cakey or drying. So now is the moment of truth. I want to set the face. I am not sure how this is going to go. This just feels so incredibly dewy. Even though it is thin, it still feels very, very greasy and oily on my skin. So just keep that in mind. So I am going to use my Melt She's Alive powder, starting with the T-zone. I'm trying to use a really light, okay, what is happening here? I'm gonna keep going. It's almost like where I place my puff initially, it like leaves a line of demarcation where it just completely like sucks into the foundation because of the oiliness. Ooh, that looks not good. So I'm not sure what is happening here. It almost feels like it's like bringing out my pores and like, again, like the powder's like sucking in to the really oily foundation. The other thing I'm noticing is almost like patching on my under eye, which has not been my experience. And I feel like, did that like get darker? I'm gonna try my L'Oreal powder on the other side just to see if it's something to do with the foundation. So this side doesn't look quite as dark, but it still has that like clinging sort of vibe. I'm just gonna stick to the Melt powder. See what I mean? Like, look at my forehead. This is like a 911 emergency because if you use powder, I don't even see how you're going to be able to with this foundation. So this is what the foundation looks like set. Something is really weird with this. I feel like I have like patching. It's almost like, again, where you set your brush or puff down, it literally just like sucks all of the moisture out or the oil, and then you have like an imprint. It just looks patchy. It still feels sticky, which is another thing. Like if you set even heavily, it still feels tacky. So I don't want to judge these too hard, but I want to try out these Rare Beauty Soft Matte Powder Bronzers. My only worry is that I've heard that these are quite warm and orange, and I already feel like I'm orange here. So let's just see. So I have two shades here. I have Summer Feels. So this is Summer Feels. And then also Sun Blaze. It says it's matte. Does it say matte? Soft matte? I mean, there definitely looks to be a sheen there. I did want to swatch and compare because I had one of you ask about the Say bronzers. Now I did show these in a previous video. I just tried them one time. I love the formula of these. They are also very warm though. So I have Amalfi, which is, I think, the more neutral of the two. And then we also have Palermo, which I think is the lighter tone. I hear these damn geese and I'm telling you, I do not have the patience for this right now. Okay, so here are the Say swatches, and then here are the Rare. The Rare Beauty feel like creamy, like a really creamy, substantial powder. The Say feels almost like weightless. But wow, that looks really, I don't know. I thought it was like olive, but now I'm looking at it and it looks orange, and I'm trying to figure out what shade. Maybe I need to go with the other shade, the first one, which is called Summer Feels. I'm gonna start with that one. And I'm gonna use a BK Beauty 111. This one is definitely powdery in the pan. So I wanna just tap off, and I hope it doesn't cling because my base just feels tacky even with setting. I feel like I look so orange since I set my face. So you can see right here the Rare Beauty. It definitely does have a warm tone. I can't tell if it's too warm, just because I feel like overall my complexion right now is very, very warm. It does look quite warm. Like I'm trying to envision this on like a fair light skin tone. Looks quite orange. So this is the Rare. I feel like it has a nice glow to it. It's not like too much to where I feel like my texture looks enhanced. I wanted to try on the other side just to demo for you guys the Say, just so you can see the differences. I would like to go in with the lighter shade, but I don't know, to match this tone, I feel like I'm gonna have to do the deeper one, which is Amalfi. So I went ahead and wiped my brush off, and then I'm just gonna dip in. This one is a baked formula. It's a little bit powdery, but it's like so finely milled. And this is actually a little bit more pigmented than I had anticipated when I initially tried it. So even if you don't see a bunch on your brush, yeah, I mean, look how warm those are. They both are very, very, very warm. I do really like the feel and like the blend of the Say. They both have a nice glow to them. They seem pretty similar, to be honest. I would say the Say maybe has like a smidge more of a glow. I like both of these formulas, honestly. I think they both blend really well. They are just so warm, and they translate warmer on the skin. Like this Say that I applied, if you looked at it in the component, you're not going to think you're gonna get that warm of a tone. And again, I don't know how much the foundation is oxidizing. It's just kind of one of those things that I think people are gonna have a hard time getting a shade that works for them, depending on your undertone and how fair you are. They are both quite warm, so that would be my only critique. I am gonna go back into that Morphe Trio and just use the powder blush just to add on top. It's like a really warm peachy tone. Oh, I got too much there. I'm actually gonna just take a little bit like over the center of my nose. And then I am gonna take some of this pound cake pressed powder from Huda and really try to like brighten up because I feel like I just look really, really orange. And then I do have these from Morphe. I do not know how to use these. So this is in that collection as well. These are the Dreamlight Jelly Highlighter Sticks. I feel like every brand is trying to like dupe each other and do that viral moment. I'm gonna swatch these. Okay, this feels very cooling. This is in the color Star Quality. This is the shade Over Ice. It actually looks really pretty. I thought it was gonna be like an icy, almost like blue kind of vibe, iridescence, but it actually has a really nice kind of like champagne color. I do think I wanna try the first one just because I think it will go better with my makeup, although I don't know how this is gonna work because it like dries right when you swatch it. My makeup is already like awful, so who cares? Okay, so this is really interesting because it literally applies and then is like set down. So when you touch it, it feels like a like squishy jello cooling feel, but then when you apply it, it's not really like a cream. It just kind of sets down. It does have like glitter particles. I'm not sure if it's the most, I don't know, it's actually not. It's not the most like smooth or flattering. If you look at my skin, like from afar, it's like, oh, that looks like it's wet, but up close, it's clinging and you can see like the little glitter particles. I mean, I think it's a fun idea. It could be like a fun option. I like that it's not like sticky or lifting my powder, but it just looks textured and a little bit like dry when it sets down. So I went ahead and curled my lashes. I feel like they curled okay, but I still just don't think that my lashes look the best they've looked. I'll have to see how it holds up and continue to use it, but I wanted to go in with this new lip liner from Summer Fridays. So this is the Soft Line Lip Liner in Toffee. So I purchased mine and I wanna see how this swatches. Okay, so it's not incredibly creamy, but it's not quite as dry as the MAC lip pencils. This just seemed like a really nice nude for my skin tone. Feels very, very thin. Almost feels like it has like a more sheer formula. It has a slip to it. Kind of feels like there's like a silicone glide, which does make sense because Summer Fridays is more of like a natural. Oh my goodness, I'm orange. Hold on. I can't tell if I'm literally orange or the camera's making me orange. I think I'm literally orange. Okay, we're just gonna have to move on. So this is what the toffee shade looks like. I wanna go in with this lipstick from MAC I purchased. This is an older color, but I got like a kit. This is Snob. It's like a really pretty, cool toned pink. I'm actually going to add 103 from Armani. It's a really pretty like peachy nude. I wanted to see what the lasting power is. Okay, there's basically none. Okay, I thought the Summer Fridays would have a little bit of staying power, but I mean, it really doesn't. There's very, very little left. So I'm not sure people are going to love that. I don't love that just because I want, you know, my lip liner to stay on during the day. I wanted to go back into this Morphe eyeshadow duo into the liquid side and just try it on my inner corner here. And I'm using the pink color. I'm not sure if this is gonna be too dark or how this is going to translate. Whoa. Okay, so that is very, very sparkly. Should have put that on my lid. I was not anticipating that being so sparkly. I'm like curious now. Should I try to tap a little bit of the white one on? Let me just put a little bit on the back of my hand and then see. This is like Fenty How Many Carats. I don't know how it's gonna translate though with everything that I have on. I'm not sure that did much. Maybe a little bit, I'm not sure. I feel like I just have too much going on, but that inner corner is really pretty and sparkly. So I don't know, we'll have to play with these more. And the last product that I wanted to test was the new Morphe Drip Glass Dazzled Lip Glosses. So there are 3 different shades. I know they came out with some really pretty ones for holiday. I almost wonder if these are those like repackaged. So the first shade right here is like a bronzy color. This is Cognac Diamond. And then the second shade we have is Champagne Pearl, which looks to be like a glittery gold. And then we have Pink Sapphire, which is this like pink shift. They're very thick and they have like a light scent, sort of like a MAC lip gloss. So I'm gonna go in with the pink. They have a decent amount of like shimmer to them, almost, I don't know, leaning a little bit iridescent, like metallic. I'm gonna remove that. And I wanna try maybe the gold one, just because I don't want to clash with how warm my skin is right now. So I'm gonna try Champagne Pearl instead, which has more like warm tones. I mean, it's definitely glittery. I feel like these do translate a little bit like metallic. I don't know, those aren't my favorite, but I'm gonna get myself together, take out my rollers finally. I feel like I've just been through a ride, okay? I'm sure you guys do too. Let me get myself together and let's do our thoughts. We have some rough ones to go through. All right, guys, so here's my finished makeup look. I have to tell you that I am cackling at the fact that I'm having the worst hair day of my life, to be frank. I'm so happy that I filmed the entire video with those rollers in, because truly my bangs will not cooperate. I have like a double cowlick. This is a side note, but I have a double cowlick and a widow's peak. So my bangs literally make me want to scream every single day. I have a cowlick pushing forward and then I have this cowlick pushing back, but this hair is fighting with it. It's a whole thing. I want my hair to stay out of my face, but it just won't, okay? So I tried. I'm like sweating at this point trying to get it together, so we're just gonna move on. I wanna go over my thoughts on the products. So the Summer Fridays lip stain marker, I think it's nice. Again, very comparable to the Huda Beauty or anything like that. I like that it is even, and I like that it has enough pigment, but it's not super watery where it's like sliding all over. This is a little bit brighter than I anticipated, but I will still use it for every day when I'm not wearing makeup. And then if you want your lips to be massive, do check out these Too Faced lip injection glosses. They are sticky, they're very high shine. They make your lips look insane. So just proceed with caution. I don't think that they're as painful as I remember. So I don't know if they like switch something up, but to me, these were like a 4 out of 10. So more tolerable, but my lips were absolutely massive. And then my thoughts on the Morphe Trios. I think they're cute. I don't know if I love this though, just because I'm not really understanding the light matte shadow. I also don't know if there's enough difference in between this like baked kind of formula to the metallic. They look relatively similar. You'll get a little bit more glitter with one than the other, but I think it's a cute idea overall. So I'm not sure if I would tell you to like run out and get these unless you really like shimmer toppers or metallics that you want to just pop on with your favorite matte palette. So I think they're okay. I am intrigued to give these more of a try because the glitter is really pretty. I just popped this on my inner corner, and then it seems like you have a more subdued option on the other side. And then you can use this liquid to punch it up. I guess when you do layer them, it does add a really nice sparkle. So maybe that is the way to use these. Start off with the crayon and then go in with the liquid. I'll have to try that in an upcoming video because the liquid is very, very sparkly. The YSL mascara, once I curled my lashes, I do think that they look good. I don't feel like they're heavy or they're gonna drop. This is more of a buildable formula, but I just don't know if it's giving me the length that I'm looking for. I feel like I had more length with the Urban Decay. So I'm gonna see how this wears, but it's just okay initially. And in terms of this foundation, I just don't think this is gonna work for me personally. I was hopeful. I felt like it was very thin. The coverage was buildable. I do agree with that. It has an oily texture though, something I can't describe. It's almost like those tinted SPFs that you shake and the ball goes back and forth. That's what this feels like, but a little bit more coverage. It just really did not want to play with powder. When I look at my skin from afar, I feel like it looks okay. I'm not noticing anything crazy. But when you start looking closer, the powder just settled into my pores. It got patchy. It really grabbed in areas that I set my puff down. I just don't think that this is going to be long wearing in any capacity. So I will let you know in like a pinned comment, but this is gonna be for those of you that truly do not wear powder, do not need long wear, have very dry skin, and you like to be insanely dewy. So that's definitely not going to be for me. In terms of the Morphe highlighter sticks, I actually think these are okay. They're very interesting. They have that like jelly cooling feel. I like that they don't disrupt my powder because that's something that bothers me when I use a highlighter that is more of like a cream. So they don't do that, but I do feel like they dry down and almost have a glittery effect. I don't know, they just don't look natural per se. There's a little bit of glitter particles, but I think they could be something fun to play with. The Milk Concealer is an absolute hard no. It just did not give me the coverage I wanted. It was sticky, really emollient, and I felt like anytime I touched it, whether I used a brush or my fingers, it just lifted and kind of clung. There's just something really sticky and heavy about this without the coverage. I much prefer something like the Bobbi Brown corrector or even the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. So that is a no for me. The Say bronzer, again, I really like this. Also like the Rare Beauty. I think they are just warm. That's the only problem. I feel like I did bring my look together because I did use that Huda powder and really tried to brighten up, but they're just warm overall. So if you do not like very warm bronzers, I do not know if you'll be able to find a shade in either of these. The Say is weightless. I love the radiance. I don't find that it makes my texture look bad. And the Rare Beauty has a little bit less radiance, a thicker, creamier texture. So I think both of these are great if you don't mind having a really warm bronzer. And in terms of the Urban Decay, I don't think this is bad, but I'm not wowed. I would much rather use my Urban Decay Naked Shadow Stick in Senescent or even the Hung Van Gogh liners. I just think they work better. This also seems to be inconsistent depending on what color you choose. So in terms of the wine spill, I would say no, but the brown one was doable. I just feel like I can get better results with less effort with other products. And then this Summer Fridays lip liner, I'm pretty disappointed in just because there is literally no staying power. The color and the formulation is very, lightweight, creamy, without being like super slippy. Feels like there's a little bit of a silicone in there though, giving it a glide. But the fact that I even let this sit on my hand before I smudged it before, I mean, it's completely gone. So it is giving very similar to the Rhode, which was a huge flop for me and a lot of other people. So just not thrilled about that. I won't purchase any more. And then the Morphe lip glosses, again, they're very, very glittery. They're very thick. I don't mind that, but for me, they feel a little bit foiled or metallic in a way that's unflattering. So I'll have to try them more, but I feel like I had so many products that were just kind of wearing me down, that I was trying to figure out like which one is the culprit. So I think that is everything for this trying new makeup video. I feel like this was a rough one. I'm not loving my makeup. I feel like my mood was a little bit down because I was struggling, and then my hair just sent me into a spiral. If you know, you know, so give me some grace today. Tomorrow is a new day and there's always more makeup to try. So of course I will link everything that I used today down below in my description box. I would love to know what you guys think. Are you loving the look? What stood out to you? Were you watching in horror like I was? Let me know what you guys think. I always love chatting in the comments. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. And if you did enjoy this video, even though it was a mess, give this video a thumbs up. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.